A final reflection. You know, two of the stupidest articles on the arts that I've ever seen came out this week, I believe. One is on Game of Thrones. Somebody complained that Game of Thrones keeps killing off entire immigrant populations, and it's a problem. They were talking about the battle scene where the Dothraki ran off to fight the armies of the dead and were just kind of wiped out. But this is really a terrible, terrible thing. It's a big problem, except for the fact that the Dothraki don't actually exist, and it's not a problem at all. Another is the Avengers Endgame was brilliant, but the fat shaming broke my heart. Apparently, now I don't know what this is. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a spoiler, but apparently one of the characters who's a superhero comes on at some point, and he's got a belly, he's been depressed, and he's been eating. And this is a joke, and this is a terrible, terrible thing. Now, this is going to annoy some of my own audience. I know it is. But this attitude is the exact same attitude that I see when Christians say to me, how as a Christian can you write characters who do terrible things and say terrible things and who curse the way people curse and who sleep around the way people sleep around? This is my whole point, right? An artist is actually not responsible to your sensibilities. He's only responsible to delight, entertain, and amuse you. That's all he is. And he's responsible to his muse, and he's responsible to life. An artist is trying to recreate the experience of life so that you have it there in front of you. It's a way of giving you more life, more wisdom, more chances to live, more ways of looking at the world. And he can't do that if he is responsible to some guy who thinks, oh, I don't like to see those people die, or I don't like to see that superhero get fat, or I don't like to see a Christian author deliver people who do things that Christians don't do. You know, there's an old theory about artists that is called the mirror and the lamp. In Shakespeare and Hamlet, he says the artist is supposed to hold the mirror up to nature. But around the time of the Romantic era, artists started to think of themselves as a lamp that shines a light from their inner light, shines it on the world, so you get to see more of the world. That has been transformed into artists who stand up and win Oscars and tell you how you should vote. That's nonsense. As Plato said, the artist is inspired when he works, but the rest of the time he's usually kind of an idiot. And so what you want from an artist is you want his inner life actually holding the mirror up to nature in a new way, a fresh way that comes from his vision. And so these complaints about art, that they don't supply the political vision that you want, or they don't supply the religious vision that you want, are actually anti-art. If you don't want to use the arts, don't use them. But if you use them with an open mind and an open heart, the same way you should approach life, so that it can teach you instead of you telling it what it's supposed to mean. The Klavanless weekend is upon us. It doesn't matter that I've said all this stuff, because very few of you will survive. But if you do, we will be here on Monday. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show.